It's gonna be alright.
Hello and welcome to the SusPOD. I'm Alessia, a former member from the Bristol Suspensions, a mixed UK a cappella group from the University of Bristol. And over the next 10 weeks, we will be recording podcasts and releasing podcasts where we interview people from each generation of the group, from the first gen, which is 2014, all the way up to where we are right now, which is the 10th generation, which is so exciting. So, in honour of reaching 10 years, a decade of the Bristol Suspensions, on the 3rd of February, we will be having a big show to celebrate called Suspensions. See what I did there? And it will be celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So keep it in your diaries. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll be interviewing somebody from each generation, hearing about their favourite songs, what their experience was like in the group, and also, of course, a little bit of a cappella gossip. So tune in. And without further ado, enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the SusPod. And we have Alisha joining us. How
Hello,
are you?
I'm good.
So let's jump right in. How did you hear about Susps and why did you audition back then? You joined in the 8th year, didn't you?
Yep. Gen 8 was my first year. So Aaron was actually my flatmate
Yeah.
in my first year. And I'd read like the Calling All Musicians thing, which is like this email that the music department send you, which has like all the choirs, all the acapella groups. And Susps was on there. And I'd just gone to a girls' school for 7 years, so no way was I well, I love Pitch Fight, all my love, but I was not going to a girls' group.
Right.
Because I felt like I'd had enough of that at that point. I was like, I can't do it again. So then I auditioned for both, but I like knew that I wanted to sing and do something with not just women.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron basically was like, there's this group called Susps, you should audition. Even though like he'd literally been at uni for like 2 days. And we went to the Freshers' Fair and I actually talked to Mikey. And I was like, I can't read music. I haven't sung in 7 years. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And he just said I had to audition. So I auditioned. I remember on the day, I like backed out. I was like, I'm not doing it. Because during this time, we didn't. So now the way auditions work is that there's time slots you sign up for.
Right, I see.
But
Yeah.
when I auditioned.
Yeah, it was like you just turn up. Queue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not doing it. I was like, you can't convince me to go. And then Aaron was like, well, I need to get some COVID swabs. So, like, I'm going to the SU anyway, so you might as well just come. So then I went.
Back in the days of COVID swabs.
I
Don't
know.
miss that at all.
And then I auditioned, and I got in. So.
I actually remember your audition, especially because you had that water bottle that we all loved.
Oh my God, I
And
wish I had
loved
it.
that water bottle.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember your audition so clearly, and Aaron's, to be fair. And yeah, that was the first time I was on the panel. So we usually have like 3 people on the panel, which is usually MD, AMD, and manager.
Yeah.
And we see all of the auditions, and it's so much fun being on the other side, because on when you're auditioning, it's really daunting, like so scary. You're in front of 3 new people that you've never met in your life,
And also,
and
like,
then,
I think
yeah.
with range tests and stuff. Like, I remember, I read my comments after.
Who likes range tests? Nobody.
But I read my comments after, and it's like, I don't think she knew what a range test was, but she did it.
They are like when
Yeah, because it's my first time ever doing one.
yeah. If you haven't done music, I had never done range tests before, so that was again for me was a new development. But yeah. No. But I really remember your audition, and it was so fun being on that side of the panel. That was Gen 8, and then so now into your second year in the group, Gen 9.
Yeah.
You were manager after being, I think, was it group rep?
Yeah.
In Gen 8? So what was that like? Because you only had like 1 year in the group before you were manager and president of a cappella. What was that like? What was that transition like?
It was so odd. I remember my whole summer from going from Gen 8 to Gen 9, it was just completely a cappella. Because I made the so we have this thing called a strategic plan, which is what we want to do for the year. And I made that in June.
Damn.
I made it, and I remember I had a call with our committee, which was Sam, Ryan, me and Aaron. And I literally took them all through what I wanted to do with the year. I wanted to get their opinions. Because, like, we just come off a year of doing so much.
Yeah.
And I think it's our biggest turnover we've ever had. Like, we lost 14 people, so many people.
Because was it Gen 8 that we went to 18 people?
Yeah, and then we got 2 new people.
Wow.
Cumulatively, we lost about 14.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
That is big. That is a lot.
It was like the people that stayed on were all newbies apart from Ryan, which is ridiculous when you think about it. So it was like essentially rebuilding. So I knew I had to be like very on it from like day dot. but I loved it. I like...
You absolutely smashed it. I mean, that is such a big job to take on, not just manager, but also Prez. Oh my God. How did you do that?
It was just, I remember, well, everyone knows me as Monica in Friends, so I was very stressed out.
Very fitting for the Fringe show that year.
Yeah. And like, I think it's very satisfying looking back on it now, because a lot of the stuff that I like set in stone is now like being used. And like, I think like SusPs and Acapella Society were like my babies. That generation where I was manager, a lot of them were older than me. Like, I was one of the youngest ones in the group, but they were all my babies. And I like even still think about, well, not all of them, but I still think about a lot of them like that, because when something takes over your life and that kind of, like, it's still a massive part of my life, but it's also nice to be in it and watch other people letting it grow.
Yeah. Now we have a little message sent from Aaron, who's currently on his year abroad in Valencia.
No,
Madrid?
he's in Madrid.
He's in Madrid.
We missed you, Aaron. Oh, he might be in Costa Rica by the time this is.
Oh yeah, by the time this is out.
Yeah.
But he sent a little video just kind of explaining his experience as MD.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm the MD of Generation 9 of Suspensions. I actually found being MD simultaneously one of the most rewarding things I could do, but also one of the toughest things I could do. I remember it taking up so much time while I was doing it. And admittedly, I did love every single second that I spent like arranging music and running rehearsals and just leading the group. Like, honestly, feeling like a parent to all the newbies is such a good feeling, especially when you know that those newbies are all like enjoying themselves and having a great time singing with people that love singing. When we all love what we do together, it's just the best feeling. And I think for that reason, being MD was really rewarding.
It's so weird being
so
in the group without him, because he was such an important member. He was my housemate. We led the group together. And like, even now, like, we phone every week and we're like talking about the group and we're talking about what's happening. And I still feel like he has such an important role in the group. Like, he's helping out with some arrangements this year, stuff like that. Like, he is the definition of SusPs for me, even if I won the Joe Pickin Award in my first year.
Oh my God, yeah, we need to talk about that. So basically at Fringe, we have an evening on like one of the last nights.
Yeah, to celebrate.
To celebrate the year, to kind of talk through different highlights, what everyone's awards are.
Yeah.
And Joe Pickin, one of our founders.
Yeah.
Is
Shout
like
out to Joe.
Shout out to Joe. Is like one of our kind of like SusP prodigies, I guess. He's like the life of SusPs.
He's the foundation of it.
Exactly. And so this award is like in his name to like give.
Does he know that we do that?
I don't know if he does, you know. We need to tell him.
Okay.
But basically we give this award, the Joe Pickin Award, to the person that is the most like dedicated and committed to the group and just loves it with all their being. So yeah, I remember you getting that. It was really sweet.
It's weird without him though. But
without Aaron.
Yeah.
Not without Joe. I mean, we love you, Joe, but you've never been in the group with Joe. And so what else happened this year? In Gen 9? What else, like...
Well,
you went to the Edinburgh Fringe?
Yes, we did. So we did Bosworth, which is Best of the Southwest, which was a lot of fun. We actually had a very iconic ICCA set because our first song was Swan Song, Out with the Old and with the New. And I just thought it was so iconic. The stamp to start the set. And like, even like in Telephone, like we had weird and like random stuff in it.
You got to play around with the sounds when you're doing Telephone.
Yeah, it's just Aaron has such like he loves doing weird, strange, different. He likes doing different things apart from it was all pop. In terms of like arrangements, they were just so cool. And like, you could tell that a lot of thought had been put into them. Then we had Fringe, which was a lot of fun. And
it was Friends themed, right? Yeah. So like, what's the story behind that? Why did you choose Friends?
Well,
how did that come about?
If I'm being honest, we obviously had Mean Girls
the year before.
On Wednesdays we were Maroon, and that did so well. So me doing marketing, I was like, I need this show to like be really marketable.
Yeah.
And I remember Ryan actually put forward the idea, but Ryan had never watched the show. But I feel like if you know Friends, everybody knows one person who's obsessed with it.
Yeah, of course.
Like my sister's obsessed with it.
Of course, yeah.
And so we, like, even, I remember when we got the script, like, I didn't know a lot of the references.
Did you not?
Because
Scandalous.
I'm not a devout Friends.
Yeah, I'm not either. But come on, you know the, like,
I know
classic,
the lobster one and the stuff like that.
The classic quotes.
Yeah. And, like, a lot of things went under the radar for me. But then a lot of audience members would point it out and be like, oh, okay, that's an actual thing. But, yeah, it literally was just because we wanted to do something that would hit all demographics. And also it was a lot of fun. Like, it's nice just, like, doing something completely different than what you've been doing with the year. And then we also got the Vig and Frankie for Fringe, who were insane. It was so nice having them in the group.
Shout out to them.
We just had a really lovely time at Fringe, and we sold out again.
Sick.
Insane.
Cool. Yeah. And something that's really special about SusP's Fringe shows as well, which isn't very typical, is that we have like a bit of a plot that runs through the show. Do you want to like explain how we structure our shows and like how we try and like shoehorn these songs into like the bare bones of a plot?
Well, basically how Fringe works for us, or how it has up to this point, is that we'll have our repertoire from the year.
Yeah.
We'll kind of put that in a rough order of what we think works, but
and it's usually like 10 to 11 songs, right?
Yeah. And we'll do a riff off.
Yes.
Which is classic SusPs. We'll then create a plot. So we had Mean Girls, Friends, Love Actually, Aka Arrested, stuff like that. We normally try to go off shows or movies, and we'll line the plot in with these songs, but it'll be like, because obviously we're just trying to get these songs in wherever we possibly can. Yeah,
it's tough getting the ballads into the storylines. So it's often like a kind of cringy, like, oh, we're all leaving, like, let's sing a ballad about it. I think in the year before we did like quite a funny transition where we were like, should we sing a ballad? In Gen 8.
You're like, oh, you mean the one we've got planned?
Yeah, exactly. That was the one. That was the one. Which I really like. But usually like shoehorning a ballad into like Friends as well is tough. So in terms of like Gen 9, what was your favourite song on the rep that year?
Okay. So I got a bit of a story with this one because it was Telephone.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to like it.
Okay.
Because I love the arrangement from the start, but for some reason we could not sing that song without singing it at 5 times speed until Fringe.
This year, I remember coming busking with you, and you would literally go like double speed with everything. Yeah, that was hilarious.
We had timing issues. Or to be honest, Aaron was beatboxing and he loved to beatbox fast. I loved the solo. I remember, I don't know if this is too much, but I just started getting like singing lessons from a vocal coach last year. And that was the first song I brought to her. And I was like, I hate this song.
Oh,
I hate the way I
make
sing
you
it.
enjoy it,
Yeah. And we went over it. We did it a million times. And then just before Fringe, I sang it. I like sung it to her and I was like, I just don't sing it right. Like, I don't know how to get it right. She was like, Alisha, it's literally just a mental block.
I guess that's something really special again with SusPs, that you can play around with the music. Yeah. And also everything in the arrangements from the MD perspective is like kind of tailored to all the voices as well. And so you do have that creative liberty to go away and like jazz it up a little bit. And what would you say was your fondest memory from Gen 9 from this year?
I think in general, just like, I think we had an amazing group. Like Aaron says, silly little Suspies. We literally are family.
Yeah.
And I've never felt so close to people in my life. And I remember being at Fringe and I was just like very touched by the whole experience. Because I remember coming out of it and being like, I can't believe Aaron's leaving. I can't believe Alona's leaving and going on year abroads.
Yeah.
And like,
they'll be back.
Literally were, yeah.
You better be back.
But they're literally my family.
I have to say, I think one of my favourite moments of Gen 9 was the ICCA quarters. And although we didn't progress any further in the ICCAs, we got 2 honourable mentions for soloists. And that was one of my proudest moments of the group because it just confirmed what I'd been believing. It confirmed that the group that I had led was a really talented group. And I'm just so proud. I was so proud in that moment, and I'm still so proud now of the way that so many new people to a cappella presented themselves and performed at the ICCAs. I was really impressed, and that moment will forever be in my heart. Another moment that I wouldn't really say is a moment, but one of my favourite things from Gen 9 was the fact that we called ourselves Silly Little Suspies. And I guess to everyone else outside of the group, that just sounds kind of random, but it's a name that I called one of the group chats towards the start of the year, and everyone was like, oh no, that's such a cringe name, don't call it that. Cut to the end of the year, we refer to each other as Suspies. We refer to each other as Silly Little Suspies. We're so much more of a community because we have that title, I suppose. And I think that's just one of my happiest memories of Generation 9, is that name alone, I feel like, connected us all very well. That generation will always be my Silly Little Suspies, and I love them.
Speaking to other people like who aren't in societies at uni, I'm just like, Susps.
What do they do with their time?
I don't know.
I couldn't have survived without musical theatre and suspensions at uni. Even though I did have a degree to do or two. I'm here.
You did well.
I have a job. I'm in my work studio right now. It all worked out. It's fine.
I feel like when you talk about it with other people, they think you're crazy for doing so much.
Especially also because a cappella in the UK,
it's just not a big thing.
No, it's not. And also it's kind of stereotypically very camp, which, let's not lie, is pretty camp.
I talk about this with people. Sorry, you go on.
Well, no, I was just going to say, it's just a laugh. And I think it's a unique thing, especially in the UK.
Oh, completely. And it's not standard either. So it doesn't kind of have that name with it. But
because in America, it's huge.
Yeah.
They're like celebrities or whatever. It is odd, but...
Shout out to Alona in America.
Yes, who's in another a cappella group in the US.
An American a cappella group.
Which is so exciting. It is a whole different world over there.
I was stalking Norristas this morning. Imagine if we had those kind of photo shoots.
Yeah.
Be so
this
serious.
is the closest we get, which is amazing. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
That's my boss. Thanks for letting us have this. It is a really unique hobby.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
I always love to say that, like, if any conflict ever happens in a cappella, I'm like, we're literally
we're
such a niche
We're just
thing.
singing with friends.
Yeah, the fact that you've found people who enjoy doing the weird little niche thing that you love to do is crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that the community is so big is crazy.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it.
What advice would you give the next gen?
I don't know. Well,
Gen 10, but also like Gen 11, Gen through 50. I don't know. We don't know how long this is going to go. I mean, it's mind-blowing that we're in a
Gen
decade.
10. Yeah.
That's nuts. And that we're a part of it is really amazing.
Yeah.
But what advice would you give to future generations of the group?
I think if I'm not just looking at myself, but like alumni, I've talked, like, the SusPs alumni network is insane.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because I feel like I'm close with people who aren't just in my generations, but like people like Dan.
Yeah.
And like Stan. And like random people.
The founding fathers of
fathers.
like suspensions anyway. Yeah.
And it's really odd because like I've barely seen these people not on Zoom calls. Actually, not Stan and Dan, but like other people like Joe and Gemma and stuff. But I feel close to them weirdly because they just play such an active role in the community and with us. And like what I would say from like talking with people who have done SusPs and stuff like that, it's just like, enjoy it. Uni is such a niche, small part of your life, and you're not going to get the chance to perform like that on stage.
Yeah.
And like you might do in the future, but it won't be the same as how fresh it is to you in this moment. I think that it's such a special opportunity to be able to do something that you love and do it in this way and be involved in this way and like take it. There are so many opportunities, like filming a podcast that I would have never done if it wasn't for SusPs, which is so random because it's just this group that I auditioned for and got into in my first year.
I think that's a big thing for me as well, the opportunities that it brings. Especially one of my favourite things is the fact that we do so much online content that is just immortalised for us to like look back on and go and have our like suspensions deep dive,
like
guilty
this.
pleasure evenings where we chat about it in detail, but also when we can like watch all of the YouTube videos in bed, like with your sus water bottle or whatever. That I do that quite often, and it's just having that immortalized forever, and also having the opportunity to come back and see the newbies, and also
completely.
socialize with the alumni, it is really unique. And to have like other things like get on Spotify, release an album,
crazy.
like singles, podcasts,
Potential singles that we have coming out soon. Give our Spotify a listen.
Yeah. So it's things like that that really make it special for me.
Yeah.
And like, you think into the future, telling your kids and be like, yeah, I was in an a cappella group, or I have a song on Spotify with my group. It's nuts. So.
I know that this is in Gen 9, but I remember when In Case You Don't Live Forever came out in my first year.
Yeah.
And I remember playing that in the car with my dad.
Yeah.
And like listening for my voice in the do's and the do's. And I was just so proud, like, of being part of something like that. So
Yeah.
I just think it's like, even if it's not a cappella, anything that you get involved with, and a cappella especially is such an intimate group of people, I feel like it's just so special. It's like completely changed my life.
Leading on from that, what are you excited for 10 year for our anniversary show?
I just can't
Which
wait
is
to
the 3rd
see
of February.
everyone. The 3rd of February, save the date. I just can't wait to see everyone. Like, even filming the podcast, it's been so fun to just listen to people, meet people, talk to people that I've like heard of, or like have met every once in a while, but like have heard like funny stories about and never got to actually meet in person. So I feel like, also, I think, who said this? I think maybe Morris said this, or Naomi said this in like one of the prior episodes a couple of weeks ago. They were like, your voice can only get better.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. Yeah.
I could not wait to see how insane
Yeah.
the Gen sound.
Yeah. Recording this podcast as well, it's been really nice to reflect on individual years, especially because I feel like when you've been in the group a couple of years, they all blend into one, and you just have, it's just a roller coaster of different events and like projects that you're working on. But actually sitting down and thinking, right, Gen 9 was this, and that's what it meant to me then, and it's really nice to look back on. And
Something I've just realized I didn't talk about was end of year show.
yeah, how was that?
It was amazing.
I wasn't sure. Oh, Julia, I'm sorry what I do to ya. I push and pull and mess with your head, then get in your bed, 'cause I'm weak, deep down.
I remember so many people turned up for us. And there's this like video that we've got on our socials of like Alona singing Faith. And she goes like, see the vibe,
What a
it's Stevie
queen.
Wonder swag. And there's just massive screaming and yelling. And it's like one of my most treasured memories. And the same as, oh my God, have I told you about this? So we supported Aqua for their Comedia show.
Yes.
And 2 of our mics weren't turned on.
No.
And I remember it. And like how awful, like the thing is we
Oh,
still
no.
sounded good, but it was such an awful performance because we were all like, what has just happened?
Oh,
We could not hear stuff through the monitors.
Oh,
Our
shit.
timing was all whack. Like I remember coming off that stage and being like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
don't know what you've just experienced. But like, it's the fact that it was such a good group of people, that Gen, that we came off that and we were still like, it was fun. It happened.
Yeah.
And we had
Still
such a
hype.
good time after. But I feel like that's just what a cappella is.
Yeah.
A series of weird
There's always gonna be
moments.
technical difficulties.
Oh, so true.
It's natural. Like you can't go on do a stage show without that happening.
No.
Thank you so much for joining us for Generation 9, the 9th episode of the SusPOD.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for the 10th episode with a brand new member who literally joined this year. And make sure
10th
you
and
get your
final
tickets.
episode.
10th and final episode of the podcast. And make sure that you get your tickets for Suspensions, the 10-year anniversary show, which is going to be on the 3rd of February. The link will be somewhere in the bio below or description.
everything.
So check it out, and we hope to see you there. And thank you so much, Alisha. And we'll see you soon.
you.
Bye.
Get your tickets for the suspension
Get your
tickets.